Hi, everyone. Welcome to another bite sized review. This time, call me by your name. So, this is a movie that has been getting some crazy buzz, some crazy Oscar buzz. People are saying it's the best movie of the years. People are saying it's the best love story of the past decade. Um, yeah, there's a lot going for it. I was a little after hearing all the buzz and like hearing like, oh, it's a 17-year-old and a 24-year-old boy and man who fall in love in Italy in 1983. I'm like, okay, and this is getting a lot of buzz. It's like, all right, I understand why. I understand why. And then I saw it, and then I'm like, I understand why. This movie was incredible. This movie was fantastic. I don't. Some people who don't know me might not have seen like my Black Mirror review, have seen other videos on my channel, know my stance on homosexuality. Long story short, basically, when it comes to like a fictional story, television, movie, book, whatever it is, um, like basically anything goes. I feel like morality is subjective, or um, anything is okay, quote unquote, when it comes to fictional stuff. So when I watch this, I just see it as two people falling in love. So I have no qualms. That's just a disclaimer for people who know who I am and know my previous thoughts on things like this. So that's just an aside. Um, but I loved this movie. It was a crazy grower for me. When I first got done watching it, I was like, all right. And then like 3 days pass, and I'm like, this was great. This was really good. Um, I have a good amount of things to say about it. I don't even know where to start. The actors, Army Hammer and Timothy, oh gosh, Chalamet, I believe it is. Is it Chalamet? It says on the poster, but it's pretty small on the poster right there. Chalamet, I guess. I don't know. Um, Phenomenal. Chalamet got an Oscar nom, I'm pretty sure, for Best Actor. Let me just triple check that. Yes, he did. Um, I've seen Phantom Thread with Daniel Day Lewis. He has a nomination for lead actor. Daniel Kaluuya, I think that's how you say his name, for Get Out. I haven't seen Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour or Denzel Washington in Roman J. Israel Esquire, whatever that is. Um, I could honestly see Chalamet getting lead actor for this. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. In fact, I'm almost banking on it happening, especially given that he's like 22 years old. It'd probably be a big publicity thing. It's like, oh, look at how young this guy was winning an Oscar. Knocked it out of the park. Unbelievable. Fantastic chemistry between them as well. It always stuns me when actors make it look like it doesn't take any work. Most of my favorite actors are people like Robert Redford, Paul Newman, um, people who just are able to like act as if you know nothing's wrong. There's no artifice. There's no facade. They're just people, and it looks flawless and natural, and they don't feel like actors. When you watch someone like a Laurence Olivier or something like that, you're like, that guy's acting, but he's doing a great job. There's not exactly like a natural raw thing going on with people who have spectacle, but people like Redford and Newman, I feel like I'm missing. I like Dustin Hoffman too. Back in the day, I think he was really good at that as well. Um, they can just do it without any facade, and it blows my mind. And the all of the actors really in this movie, but in particular the two leads, amazingly natural, unbelievable. You don't feel like you're watching actors. It's remarkable. But their chemistry is great. So far, I'm championing for Chalamet to get the lead actor Oscar. Um, the music, holy crap, the music. My boy Sufjan Subaru Stevens came through with 3 tracks. He did like a remix with lyrics for Feudal Devices, one of his older songs, and Mystery of Love and Visions of Gideon are like some of my favorite songs of last year. They're so good. Um, when I heard that Sufjan did some songs for this, and then I saw what the movie was, I was like, this this is just gonna, this movie is just going to be a movie version of the Predatory Wasp of the Palisades from Sufjan's album Illinois. And I was pretty much right. It's like this really like kind of like sweet love story, um, but it's like set in Europe, and it just captures that feel of that Wasp song, the Predatory Wasp of the Palisades. And Sufjan's 2 songs, 3 songs, I guess I should say, in this movie just highlight that. Like it's so Sufjan. This movie, it's bizarre how much involved his aesthetic and tone is with this movie. Um, I got crazy impressionistic vibes from this movie. Like if like for example, this famous painting that you've all seen a million times, Starry Night, um, is an impressionistic work by Vincent van Gogh. And impressionistic art is something that is just looks like brush strokes and smears. Like Monet was an impressionistic painter, I believe. Did a lot of that kind of stuff as well. That was Van Gogh, right? I'm pretty sure that's Van Gogh. I'm having like a brain fart now. I'm thinking like, is that Monet? No, I think that's Van Gogh. Might be lambasted in the comments for this, but it's just a brief momentary lapse of intelligence. Um, a lot of great painters from the Impressionistic era, but with Impressionism, they don't really value lines and structure. They value kind of looser structure and just sort of like dreamy, swirly. It's really difficult to make out impressionistic art sometimes. The common thing is like if you look at it up close, you just see brush strokes and smears. You step back, you start to see the shapes and the forms and what they are, and it's very dreamlike and very kind of ethereal and whatever you would call it, you know. And this movie was that. This movie, some of the shots of the cinematography looked like paintings, but not intentionally. Like, you know, you watch something like Barry Lyndon, everything's obviously framed as a painting. However, with this movie, shots would just pan over and just like sit there and they would just look beautiful with the Italian landscape. Fantastic. Great classical music that shows up too, because Elio, Chalamet's character, is kind of this sort of very intelligent, erudite kid who, you know, reads books all the time, studies music, plays piano, guitar. Basically, he's me. Um, you know, that's most of what I can relate to because I'm not bisexual. But um, moving on, he listens to a lot of classical music, so the movie features a lot of classical music in it. And I recognize most of it. Even my favorite Ravel piece. Oh, this is embarrassing. It's a mirrors piece by Ravel. I don't know how to say it in French. Is the problem? Um, a boat on the ocean in F sharp minor. It's une barque sur l'ocean. It's a long, like 7 minute long piano piece with crazy arpeggios, um, just constantly moving notes, and it's beautiful. I've never been able to play it. I'm not even going to try. But it's my one of my probably my favorite Ravel piece. I've listened to it for the past like 5 6 years, and it was featured prominently in the movie. It's played during a part where they go, the 2 guys go on like a errand run throughout the city. and they're on their bikes, and this song is playing. I think it's the scene also where Elio kind of mentions his feelings very vaguely and passively. I think that's the same set of scenes, but um, not only is the movie impressionistic in that way, and uh, with its cinematography and its story, but also in its music. So it's a very impressionistic movie. Um, but it's very stream of consciousness as well. A lot of the scenes, like as soon as you're done watching the movie, and for the next few days after, at least for me, um, it's like instantly nostalgic. It's bizarre. Uh, you you feel like you've experienced this like years ago, and it was just like it was a movie that just happened. It's really bizarre. Um, and that just, I think, goes to show the power of the acting and the cinematography and the editing and the music, um, directing. Everything was just beautiful and lush. Um, some critiques I would give the movie is, well, the freaking peach scene. I think everybody can agree the peach scene did not need to be in the movie, right? You could trim it out, have a nice 2 hour movie. They're good. Um, this seemed really out of place. I know that the director went on record saying that he didn't want to include any explicit sex scenes because he didn't want to ruin the tone of the movie. And I was like, that's very good. And it worked. That worked really well. Not including explicit sex scenes, really any sex scenes at all. Um, that worked extremely well in its favor. But then the peach scene happened, and I'm like, you just went back on everything that you did. And I'm not going to go into detail about it. If you haven't seen the movie, it's just there's basically a scene that involves a peach and masturbation. Basically, think American Pie, uh, and it really does not feel. It's the only time in the movie, like I'm not exactly comfortable with. I don't like watching guys make out in a movie. I'm sorry, but I wasn't uncomfortable at any other point in the movie compared to that peach scene. Like, okay, you get it. Second, uh, what was second? I don't recall. Oh, the age gap, problematic. I understand people are bringing up the age gap thing as a problem because basically it's like early mid 20-year old with a 17-year old. Granted, age of consent in Italy is like 14 or something like that, but obvious moral problems here. Um, could be called sexual abuse, whatever. And I understand all of that. But I also don't think the movie is trying to champion that. I don't think the movie is trying to promote such an age gap kind of thing. I just think it's trying to tell a story. I mean, in the vacuum of this movie, like I said, when I watch a movie, I'm not relating it to the real world per se, unless it's like a biopic or something that's set on real events. Oh, sorry. Set with real events. I'm not going to try to compare it to real world morality. So when I watch this, I'm able to like shelve that and kind of suspend it for a while I watch this movie. So I just hope that people who see this think it's don't watch it and think, okay, this is okay. This is an okay thing to do. It's all right for a 24-year-old man to seduce a 17-year-old boy. Not that it happens that way in the movie. It's very much both people playing a role in the building of the relationship. But I understand the concern. But I don't think it's a critique for the movie purely or completely. But I understand. I would say one other minor critique. I wouldn't call this spoilers. It's very, very small. I'm just going to say it here. Um, One sex scene that is kind of led into, you don't see it, and then it comes out. Um, you assume that these two people have sex during a night. Um, Now, this is just me. This is just maybe it's a nitpick. I don't know. Um, Also, I'm gonna try not to be too graphic here. I'm just gonna say it like it is. If there was penetrative sex between these two guys, um, I'm highly skeptical that it went well. That's all I'm saying because there was no lubricant, obviously, or no obvious use of it, which you can't really do if you're trying not to do explicit sex scenes. So I understand. And B, if neither of these guys has had experience doing this kind of activity before, then I don't imagine it's going to be very pleasant. That's kind of something you have to get comfortable with and lead into before you do that in real life with someone else. I'm not saying that from experience. I'm saying that because I know that that's kind of how it works. Um, you don't just do that automatically because you're sexually oriented that way. I'm sure that there has to be some kind of lead in, and it didn't seem like there was. But then again, that's assuming that it was actual like intercourse that was, you know, whatever. It could have just been something else. I don't know. But those are just small nitpicks. That's really like all I have to say about the movie. That's like bad. Um, I really loved it. The longer time goes on, the more fondly I think of it. It's just very coming of age, reflective, beautiful European, just impressionistic vibes. Um, Great, just absolutely great. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets Best Picture as well. I've seen Get Out, I've seen Phantom Thread now, I've seen this. Um, unless Lady Bird gets it, maybe. I don't know. I'm expecting Call Me by Your Name at this point. Uh, it's interesting because like the Academy has like a hierarchy of things that like, and the order can change sometimes, but it's like if you do a very politically conscious movie that lines up with like leftist ideals because it's Hollywood, you're probably gonna get Best Picture. Like Moonlight last year. Not to say that that was like a leftist movie, but it's like it was racially aware, et cetera, et cetera. Won Best Picture, obviously. Another hierarchy is like basically kissing up to old Hollywood. Uh, just doing things very classic. Let's of the artist. The artist did that, won Best Picture. La La Land did that, almost won Best Picture. So that's another hierarchy, and then just like historical biopic, if nothing else, like King's Speech, one year for that. It's like there's basically these little things you can look for that the Oscars will basically choose their best pictures for. And I don't know much about Lady Bird. I don't know if it's like going to be a Birdman thing where it's like, oh, we just got to do an art house movie. Because I don't think Lady Bird is about anything socio-political. I could be wrong, but um, if it's just like a Birdman thing, then I'm expecting Call Me by Your Name, maybe even Get Out at this point. I don't know. I still need to see the others, but I'm not expecting Dunkirk. I'm not expecting Darkest Hour. I'm not expecting The Post. Not expecting Shape of Water. Not expecting billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. So I don't know. But that's what I have to say about Call Me by Your Name. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it if you're, basically like I just talked about. If you feel the same way I do about movies and impressionistic stuff, you're gonna love this movie. It was great. So yeah, that's it. Movie I'm watching next is Perks of Being a Wallflower. I'm taking a small little intermittent break, putting a movie in the middle of my Oscar spree, an older movie I've been wanting to see. So that'll probably be the next review, and then I'm gonna hop right into Dunkirk. Next, I think maybe Three Billboards, depending on my mood. Then I'm gonna try to get to Lady Bird and Shape of Water, hopefully before the Oscars start. Wait, when is? Oh, they'll air on March 4th. Never mind. I have plenty of time. Plenty of time. They usually were in February, weren't they? I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later.